If one were to recreate the image of what an ideal, formidable defender should be, then players like Sergio Ramos, Van Dijk, and Puyol can be taken as examples. And to join the ranks of these footballers, to become a central defender just as good, or perhaps even better in the history of football, you will need to master 6 fundamental skills. And topping that list are duels, both aerial challenges and ground battles. A truly world-class central defender must emerge victorious in a minimum of 85 to 90% of all their duels. Take Virgil van Dijk as an example. For 64 consecutive matches, no one could beat him. And this was in the English Premier League and the Champions League. That's simply an unimaginable achievement. And, of course, that was immediately followed by the award for the best footballer of the year in Europe. If you're playing as a central defender, your defining characteristic will be winning those individual battles. If, for instance, throughout an entire season or a tournament, you've never been defeated and you haven't lost a single one-on-one challenge, then rest assured, at the very least, you'll be widely recognized after this, and at most, the country's top clubs will be eager to sign you. Also, don't forget that you can download the Football Pro mobile application for footballers, which offers comprehensive training programs, whether it's for on-field practice or home-based workouts. Wherever you are, you choose the right program and start working. Download it from Google Play or the App Store via the links below this video. The second distinctive quality of a central defender is the ability to start attacks. In other words, this is your very first pass. As a defensive player, you must be able to find passing options and cut through the opponent's midfield line to initiate your team's attack. Many defenders nowadays don't really develop this skill. They either resort to a long pass in a slightly difficult situation, creating a contested ball, or play it back to the goalkeeper, or wait for a holding midfielder to open up so he can start the attack himself. But if you genuinely wish to become a world-class central defender, then you unequivocally need to cultivate your first pass, because by doing so, your team will effortlessly transition from defense to attack. Furthermore, in attack, you'll have an extra player, because your holding midfielder won't constantly need to drop deep for you to start attacks on his own. But instead, he can make runs for you from deep positions, where he'll be most dangerous. Such a center back with a developed skill for initiating attacks is considered very valuable. The third distinguishing feature is the long pass. You know yourselves that on the field, there are often moments when you're under pressure and all options are covered. You simply have no viable option to make a pass. In this scenario, your only remaining option is to attempt long passes, either to a forward, slightly underhit, so he can flick it onto his midfielder and continue the offensive, or play a long ball into an open area, or completely switch the attack to the other flank with a diagonal pass. And it is precisely your mastery of the long pass that will define you as a quality central defender, who is able to transition from defense to attack not only with a short pass, but also a long one. In that case, if the attacker knows how to make the right runs, you can put him through one-on-one, and that's already a brilliant option. Scouts are highly unlikely to overlook such a central defender. The fourth point is reading the game. As a central defender, you must disrupt opponent attacks, and this can be achieved not only by winning individual duels, but also by intercepting passes and effectively closing down opponents. Football isn't solely about using your feet, it's also about using your head. You must constantly observe your opponent and, at certain moments, predict their actions in advance. In other words, this skill is commonly referred to as reading the game. Mastering this particular quality is considered a defining characteristic of an intelligent central defender. For our fifth point, we have tactics. And as I've already mentioned, in football, we don't just play with our feet, but also with our heads. Sometimes, for example, there's no need to chase a forward for 50 meters. Instead, you can simply play an offside and conserve your team's energy. Also, in certain situations, instead of trying to win the ball cleanly, you can commit a tactical foul, allowing all your teammates to drop back into their defensive positions. Football has many tactical nuances, and you must know them. To learn them all, you must constantly watch the world's best center backs, analyze their every game, observe how they move with and without the ball, then memorize and apply it to your own play. Next, you need to watch and analyze your own game to clearly see where and what specific mistakes you've made. Then ask yourself how you can effectively correct them and actively seek answers to this question, either from your coach or by observing the world's top football stars through their matches. And the final, sixth distinguishing characteristic of an outstanding central defender is leadership. As a central defender, you are positioned in such a way that you have a complete view of the entire field and all the players. Accordingly, you must lead everyone, players from defense, midfield, and attack. If someone didn't track back, got lost, you made them drop. If an opponent is on someone's back, you gave them a shout. Someone has lost their player, and you also provided guidance. You must also be psychologically resilient. You constantly need to manage the entire process. Your partners must always hear you and feel confidence from you. Roughly speaking, you are the conductor. To this point, we can also add concentration. Should a forward or a midfielder make a mistake, the defensive line can provide support. However, if a central defender makes an error, there's absolutely no one to cover him. Therefore, your concentration needs to be absolutely exceptional. With a central defender of that caliber, your teammates will find it significantly easier and more effective to play, both physically and mentally.